As a Rangeview Raider, you're expected to be exposed to a diverse lifestyle, interesting classes, and normal things you'll see every day at a public school. But what is life like at a private school? I'm Jordan Marshall, and this is the Battle of the Raiders.
On a regular day at Rangeview High School, you might find me procrastinating in class, procrastinating in the library, or asking random kids in the hallways awkward questions for the weekly rap. But a couple of weeks ago, I was given a task. Go to Regis Jesuit for a day and make a video about it. Knowing me, I was skeptical at first, but eventually I said, hey, YOLO, let's do it. So here it is, my day at Regis Jesuit High School, in detail. The night before the day I was supposed to go, I forgot I didn't have any dress code appropriate clothes. You see, at a private school, that's something most people expect, but it is something that I completely forgot about.
I know that the schools are divided between genders, so I would expect that. I have heard that there is a small amount of minorities that go to that school. I would expect that as well. And uniforms.
See, right there. How could I forget? Oh well, it wasn't anything a late night store run at Kohl's couldn't fix. The dress code for boys is something like this. A tucked in collared shirt, slacks, appropriate shoes, no jackets or backpacks in class, and no beards. Unless it's No Shave November like when I went and everybody was doing it. Getting back on track, my first and only day at Regis was quite different, to say the least. I was greeted by friendly people and administrators who all seemed excited to meet a shadow. But the first thing that I noticed was how well lit the place was. I mean, the amount of windows equipped with a beautiful view was impeccable. Compared to Rangeview, this place appeared to be a planetarium. Regis is constantly adding new things and renovations to make the learning environment better. And if I say so myself, if the $15,000 a year it costs to attend Regis goes towards the learning environment, fit with Macs, fancy rolly, and comfortable chairs, they are doing a wonderful job. Speaking of Mac and Apple, during my day at Regis Jesuit, I practically thought Apple owned the school. Get this, everyone who attends Regis is required to bring an iPad to school every day. Just see if you can keep count of all the Apple logos you see by the end of this video. Anyways, by the time I noticed all of these things, I was only 15 minutes into the day. I was in broadcasting class, which was pretty decked out with technology and a studio of its own. I was shadowing Connor Roosevelt, who took me on a tour of the whole school. He first stopped by the coffee shop, yes, the coffee shop within the school. This was located inside the PAC Center, which is one of the places where you can eat lunch, but we'll get into that later. The coffee shop is open from 6:40 a.m. to 4 p.m., and the classes only last from 8 a.m. to 2:45 p.m. On the tour, I was able to catch photos of some of the places on campus, including the football field, the incredible view of the lawn overlooking the mountains, the trophies, more trophies, and more trophies, along with the swimming pool, where you guessed it, Missy Franklin was all over the record board. There was also a gargantuan statue of St. Regis himself, who is nicknamed Gandalf by some of the students, who looks over that incredible lawn and view. Because he didn't have the words to refuse, I thought we'd have a little photo shoot of him during the tour. As you can tell, Regis is quite a prestigious school that was first established in 1877. It is also a Catholic school, where they have mass every once in a while and prayer over the intercom a few times a day. Also, there were crosses and murals of Jesus Christ and saints everywhere. Like I said before, I followed Connor around to each of his classes. After broadcasting was applied calculus, theology, and for the last class of the day was graphic novels. In applied calculus, I watched Connor and his classmates work independently after a quick review next to an extremely large and fancy learning board. Next was theology, where we watched the 1990s Oprah segment on the Holocaust, then had more independent work time, where I realized even at private schools, procrastination is present. The last class of the day was graphic novels, which was my personal favorite, complete with the perfect decorations, the office posters, superhero posters, and a lion head piñata. After presentations on the visualizer, group work time on the iPads, and a class discussion, we went outside for individual reading time, something that would probably never happen at Rangeview. But understand, this is Connor's easier senior class schedule, but with that in mind, let's enjoy the beauty of the exterior of Regis High School. After the day was over, I was not only enlightened, but I wondered about the way others perceived private versus public high school. This is Vanessa Guereca, who went on the trip with me, but stayed way over there in the girls' division. Do you prefer the diversity at Rangeview here compared to Regis?
Actually, yes, I do, because I feel like I get to have more background on my classmates and get to learn a little bit more about my background as well. So yes, I would say that I prefer diversity at Rangeview.
Looking back, I agree and can relate to what Vanessa was saying. Diversity was something that was very different at Regis compared to Rangeview. Rangeview is a minority white public school, which has hallways filled with a vibrancy of color. At Regis, there was only one class that I was in where I wasn't the only African American male. Plus, the classes were gender separated. To proceed, I also observed out of my 4 classes, there were only 2 where I wasn't the only minority present. The school is based off a block schedule after all, so I did not get to see all of Connor's classes, but this fact was worth noting. Here's what others from Rangeview had to say about it. Do you expect the diversity to be different from Regis to Rangeview?
Yeah, I think they'll have less diversity. Like, I'm not saying that that's necessarily bad, but it's more common to find higher class people to be white instead of minorities. So, and you have to pay to get into Regis. So,
Would you ever consider going to a private school, or have you been to one before?
I have not. I don't know. I think education is really what you make of it. So you can get the same amount of education at a public school as long as you take all of those opportunities that are given. So I don't think it is necessary to have to pay for school.
And here's what Connor had to add about the misconceptions of Regis Jesuit High School.
I think some big misconceptions is that we're kind of very exclusive, not like academically, but like with the people that we interact with. I think one of Regis's biggest qualities is that we're very open to like just welcoming all and such, and I think people get the wrong idea when they think of Regis about that stuff. So, yeah.
From my perspective as a minority, I was accepted and treated equally as any other guy. The people at Regis were kind, respectful, and friendly, especially the one day I happened to be there. All in all, public school and private school appeared very different to me. But the biggest thing I noticed was the lunch menu. This is what I had the day I went there. Try not to drool all over your computer. Usually I skip lunch and go to the library at Rangeview, but at Regis, I would never even think of such a thing. My experience was very unique at Regis, but personally, I think I'll skip the transfer paperwork and stay at home at the colorful scene of Rangeview High School. But that doesn't mean if you go to a private school, you can't have a little fun.